Hey guys, Brandon from the Manga Guys here again. Sorry about not having a One Piece review up earlier. The chapter's been coming out on Friday now, which kind of messes me up, and I've been doing stuff this whole weekend, so today I'm going to have the One Piece review out, One Piece discussion, and a One Punch Man review, so be ready for that. So chapter 809, pretty good chapter. We learn a lot about the flashback and about Nekomamushi. He's the king of the night in the country of Zou. So the chapter starts off with a nice colored page. It's for some reason it's just Frankie, Robin, Luffy, and Brook, which is an interesting group of people. It's like the three oldest people and then just Luffy. But I love that tattoo on Robin's leg, that butterfly, so sexy. But anyway, the chapter starts off with talking about the poisonous gas weapon that Caesar was using, and King Inuarashi, forget his name, I'm sorry, I'll have it memorized by next chapter, I promise you. Him and Wanda are both drooling over Brook because he's made of bones. It's pretty funny. But the Duke said that he knew Shanks back when he was a pirate, because he said he would roam the seas with Nekomamushi, and as soon as Luffy starts saying, "Oh, you know Shanks," he just falls asleep. And add that to the number of characters on One Piece with narcolepsy. Ace, Garp, Luffy, Duke of the Day, and Zou. just such a recurring thing in One Piece. I love it. It's so funny though. So the reason why King Inuarashi falls asleep is because that he has a very testy relationship with Nekomamushi, the ruler of the night. So we find out that Duke is the king of the land where they live in. I guess that's the town in the country. But Nekomamushi is the guardian of the whale forest, which is very sacred to them. Maybe that'll come into play later. But they hold the same amount of power, and all their fights end in stalemates, which is very interesting because we see both of them display feats of power very impressive in this chapter. It is shown that from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 in the afternoon is King Inuarashi's time to be awake, and then from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is Nekomamushi's rule. And 12 hours, oh my god, that sounds like a good sleep, especially since on average since I got to college, maybe I get 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, sometimes more, sometimes less. It's just awful. I mean, I do it to myself, but like 12 hours sounds so nice. But anyway, so at 6 p.m. just falls asleep, and not just him, his people too, like the doctors and nurses just fell asleep, and even the guy Sicilian, one of the Three Musketeers, was talking to them, and they just fall asleep. It's One Piece, so, but it's still weird that just at 6 p.m. bam, just because they have a testy relationship and they don't want to meet each other, him and all his people just start going to sleep at 6. But not Wanda, which is very strange. And then we start going into a flashback. I think it's being told by Wanda, or maybe Sicilian, I'm not sure, because I think he fell asleep too. But we get to see the rest of the flashback of what happened with Jack. So as soon as we go into flashback, we see the Musketeers, and that's a really good drawn panel. Like all the people of the day that are getting a fight against Jack. The Musketeers, they said, had a little more training than the average Mink, so they're really good fighters. And even the average Mink like knows how to fight, because they're taking out some of Kaido's men, but they're probably the fodder. And we see that the people on Kaido's crew with black horns, kind of like Kaido, are the ones with the devil fruits. But I don't know if these are the zones that Caesar manufactured, because this one guy's hand turns into a wolf, but just his hand. So I don't know if that's like a devil fruit that was not complete. It was like a misfunction or something. So I don't know if that's the full effect of his own devil fruit. But the one with the horns have some kind of body alterations. And we see Sheep's Head too, like has this weird like curly hand in this chapter. But then we get to see the introduction of the Three Musketeers, which is Sicilian, and these two other guys we don't know. One of them is a zebra, which looks kind of silly, but the other guy looks pretty cool. He's like a rat or some kind of possum. He's like holding two swords like crossed like this. It looks really nice. So those guys probably have some considerable power. And then the Duke Inuarashi confronts Jack. He's on the giant alligator thingy. And he gets off, he throws down a sword, and he asks Jack nicely, just like the monkey from last chapter. He asks him nicely, "There's no samurai in our country. You could look through this country if you want to, just please stop destroying things." He says this country is very rich in history. So I'm guessing that we're going to get something with the whale forest being sacred to them, and them loving them having a rich history of this country. There's going to be a poneglyph. I'm calling it right now. There's gonna be some kind of poneglyph or some kind of a connection to the Void Century in this, with the fact that there's a 1,000-year-old elephant, and they said their country is very rich in history, and they have a sacred ground. It just all leads to some kind of poneglyph or something about the Void Century. I just have a very strong feeling about that. But anyway, Jack, Inuarashi jumps off his alligator thingy, and he's a big dude. Like, he's like clearly like maybe Whitebeard size, but Jack in his mammoth form is huge. He's like this, and like he's like far away from Jack, so even if we got closer up, like he'd be huge. I didn't know, like I don't think mammoths were this big in like history, but Jack's a big dude. He asks him to stop. Jack says hell no, swipes at him with his trunk, and then next panel you see, boom, he stops it. Inuarashi, one hand stops it, doesn't even lose his like composure, not really smiling. He's wheezing a bit because he's older, and obviously he's not as strong as Jack, but he did stop him, which is very impressive. So then we get the big revelation thing everyone's been talking about this chapter. Jack is revealed by his crewmates to have a bounty of over 1 billion. 1 billion. And he's not even the most wanted man in the world. That's Dragon. That's another story. So I don't want to assume things, but I'm going to assume that Kaido, Big Mom, Blackbeard, and Shanks all have a bounty higher than Jack's. And Dragon, that's a given. So, what the hell are their bounties? They have to be insanely high. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Dragon's like 100 billion or something insane. But we have to remember that bounties do not equal strength. Bounties are a threat to the government. The reason why Dragon's is the highest is because he is directly opposing the government. So he may not be the strongest man on Earth just because he has the highest bounty on Earth. He has the highest bounty because he is doing things that directly interfere with the government. So Jack could maybe be super strong, which I'm guessing, but he does things like he did a couple chapters ago, attacks warships with Sengoku, Surudu, and Fujitora on them on purpose, and that's why he's given such a high bounty, because he's batshit crazy. He also says in this chapter that he loves to destroy, so I think we're looking at a psychopath in our hands. I love a good villain. So then we get a couple of clips of them fighting, not clips, panels of them fighting. The Minks are holding their own very well. You could tell they have the advantage because the Jacksmen don't know about the water that falls twice a day, and they're holding each other off. Then we see the clock tick, 6 p.m., and just this giant meow. It says grrr meow, and like I like the way it's like the text is written all like scratchy and stuff. So the Nekomamushi wakes up, and Inuarashi and his people don't instantly fall asleep. So it's just like a gag thing that happened earlier in this chapter. They say that they're gonna fall back, and Inuarashi says they're not gonna fight with them because that they could rest while the people of the night, they're called the Guardians, fight them, and then in the morning they'll be replenished and Jack's men won't. So they're very smart. These guys have a good military system, and they have awesome power with like the electricity they have. So these Minks are no joke. Like, they shocked me, and I'm pretty sure they shocked everyone in the One Piece community with how strong they are. I thought they were going to be mean too and hate humans, but like they just totally 180'd us. So then we get a panel of Nekomamushi and his people, and he's actually kind of scary looking. Like, when I first saw that, I'm like, whoa, it looked like a dragon for a second. For some reason, it just doesn't feel right in One Piece the way he looks. He has a very like monstrous and real like face. Like, usually One Piece is kind of silly and stuff. He just seems kind of out of place there. Not a bad thing. He just doesn't feel One Piece-y, if you know what I mean. But he's huge. He's even bigger than Duke Inuarashi. And he might be because he's chubbier, but he looks a little bigger, and he runs up to Jack. Like, I'm guessing he's fast, because as soon as 6 p.m., you hear the meow, and you see like things of him running, and then he was just there with his people, and his people do look pretty cool. They're a little swaggier. They have some nice clothes. They got trench coats and stuff. So, you know, the people of the night, they're where it at. They're the cool guys. He's even got like a pipe in his mouth as he's talking. Like, the pipe is staying in his mouth. It's pretty funny. He says that, you know, first of all, he grabs Jack by the trunk, picks him up, throws him on the ground. He isn't fazed by this at all, but he's fast and strong, which is crazy. You know, he kind of reminds me of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. I don't know why, just the way he's drawn kind of looks like that. Obviously, he looks bigger and more sinister, but I don't know. When I first saw him, it just kind of reminded me of him. But after he throws him into the ground, he repeats that if there were any samurai in this country, he would already be in his digestive system. So Jack has no reason to believe that the samurai is here. If he is here, he's a very good hider, because all these people in the country do not know where he is. They do not think he's here. So Jack is probably realizing now that he's in the wrong, but there's no way he's going to admit that. So the last page of the chapter ends with Jack going from his mammoth form down to his human form and smiling. So that's kind of crazy that he's a zone, but maybe he's more powerful in his human form, which is strange. But, you know, we'll see. Not next week, because One Piece is on break next week, which is sad. But what can you do? Oda needs to take his breaks to get his health up. I don't blame him for that. We can wait another week as long as we have One Piece. You know, it's not worth it if Oda overworks himself and dies. But thank you all for watching. Remember to comment, like, subscribe if you like my content. And my friends, we're going to be posting more content. And I just want to say one thing. We're going to probably put other stuff besides anime and manga. Like maybe we'll have some video games or something. Or some of my friends are into Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe we'll post a couple Yu-Gi-Oh! Vids. It's basically just a nerd culture channel. I know the title is Manga May Guys, but we'll have a bunch of cool stuff. A bunch of different types of variety that'll try to bring more people into the channel. But please, if you like the video, do comment. Even if you're fucking ugly, comment's a comment. And if you like the video, like it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, guys.